What's up, boys and girls? Smitty and I are back. Had a fun weekend of baseball. It was a good time. What'd you think of opening weekend?
I thought it was a good weekend. I think we both did really well, and the community seemed to do well. So I'm ready to keep going.
Yeah, me too. It's enjoyed it. Our bets did well. The Reds getting that done in the ninth got me doubled up
Yeah,
there. Because CES was about to make the list. So,
yep.
right, because he's just started so slow. So, we're going to talk to main slate, but want to give anybody that's playing, that's breaking down the early slate. Any spots you like on the early slate?
I was looking at it earlier. Pitching wise, I was kind of into the Reds Phillies pitchers, but I kind of think both offenses are in play too. Um, I don't know. It's a pretty tough slate, really. I think the Rays are probably my favorite offense on the slate.
Yeah, I'd go there. I mean, Max Meyer is nicely priced. That Angels lineup is atrocious.
Yeah.
I mean, they're batting Anthony leadoff. Like, come on, man. Like, we're all getting a little too cute here. Um, the Royals are always Royals. The Orioles are in play. Garcia started off hot, right, Bobby? It's a weird slate. I'm not playing this slate today, so
Yeah.
I don't feel like messing with it. But let's get on to the fun side of the slate. Um, let's go. Let's start with the Tigers and Mets. Let's see where we're at on Manea's ownership because it was wild a little bit ago.
Yeah, I seen that.
So let's see where he's landing right now as we're getting some more people in here.
It's
What do
still
you think
showing
of that
pretty wild.
Detroit game?
Detroit, I had some interest in Manea, but if he's going to come in, we have about 51%.
Yeah.
I'll pass on that.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go with the Tigers. I mean, I don't mind a few bats. I think Torkelson, kind of the top of the lineup's fine.
Yep.
But as far as Reese Olson, I do have some interest in him. I know the Mets are projecting pretty well for power upside, but I still think this pitching slate, there's faults with everybody. So
Yeah, this isn't like a pretty slate where it's clear cut, right? Like we're on to Monday. Same. I like Reese here. I definitely like him as a leverage. And I like actually like just using. I can see just using Torque as a one-off here today. I might use him that way. Looking at the lineup now and who they have, and they got him hitting third just because Mane is going to be 40 to 50 something percent owned. Like I just want a little leverage for Getty looked good in the spring, but the Tigers aren't that bad. Interesting game for me next is the Jays and Astros. Smitty and I are coming at this from two views. I play single entry 3-max. He plays GPP. What do you think of these guys thrown there? What do you think of Francis and Blanco?
I know Francis, he gives up a lot of power. It's a lot of red if you look at his underlying metrics, but he also has a pretty high K rate against right-handed hitters. So as an MME perspective, I'm kind of into both sides of it. I want to play Francis, but I want to play both offenses. Blanco, I'm not too interested there. I mean, you could if he makes a lineup or two, I'm probably not going to take him out, but I think both offenses are really good today.
Yeah, I mean it's hard, right? Like I didn't think I'd be saying today that the Astros got swept by the Yankees to open the weekend either. Like that's pretty wild to me. This is a good get right spot for them, and their ownership's probably going to show it. Like right now, let's look at average ownership. Yeah, that man. All right, hey, because of their price, their stack ownership is really nice. Like at that ownership, I really like them. We show them on the side at 5%. So at that side of it, I'm kind of digging that there.
Yeah, I like that.
What do you think?
Yeah, I like that. Let's see. I was trying to see where the Blue Jays. We have Blue Jays third highest. Yeah, I'd take the Astros on there.
Yeah, just looking at that right now, like that's I'm really liking that ownership. Over unders 9. Houston's favored at a minus 142. So I kind of like that there. You got to just pick on the A's all year. This is going to be one of those things, guys, where, right, like, it's just frustrating because you're going to have to pick on a few teams this year just all the time. And I like getting different, but, this is an interesting spot for me. You know, they got Boyle going, who's one of their big young arms. Um, Dude has insane K upside, but the problem is he can also walk, right? Like some people, he can go full like Snell. He can go, 13 Ks and throw a gem, or he can go 5 runs, 5 walks, and 5 Ks. Like he has both of those, and it's a coin flip for me.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. He might be one we end up making something for the Discord in, like we have for Snell. But I'm into the Red Sox bats because of, like you said, his walk rate. It can get him into trouble. I think he's going to have a pretty short leash. If he starts walking some people, he's going to get pulled, and we're going to get the A's bullpen. So all
Yeah,
around, I think it's a pretty good spot.
yeah, especially those left-handed bats.
Yep.
Give me those left-handed sides. And same, like their ownership right now is kind of nice. Like that's way better than I expected to come in, right? Because now we're starting to get some like real ownership here. And I mean, there's stacks only at 6%, which I like. So that's a nice upside. I also like Noda from the A's side. If you want to bring back, he strikes out all the time, but he's got enough pop. And this is a decent matchup against Houck's not really good against lefties. So I kind of like, if you're looking, you want to bring back, I like Ryan here today.
Yeah, I like that. I like getting to pieces of the A's. I don't know if I really want a full stack, but Houck's ownership, he's prone to power. I like getting some pieces.
And Blade projects really nice today.
Yeah, I like Blade.
He shows really, really nice on the projections today, and he's priced right? Like if you need to go, I put him. You go read my article. He's one of my dumpster dives today. When you're trying to find some salary saver, over a DK, he's definitely a spot you can save some salary on. This next game is probably the most interesting game to me on the slate. The Guardians Mariners. I kind of like this spot, right? The Guardians obviously, started off hot, got to, kick the little brother and, get going. What do you think of Hancock and McKenzie today?
I'm good. I like the I don't really have any interest in Hancock. I like the not the Mariners. I like the Guardian side of it if I had to choose. But I also, looking at McKenzie's ownership, I mean, he's the kind of guy that can go out there and get you 30, or he can give up 30 runs. So I have some interest in the Mariners for sure.
Yeah, me too. Like, I think that's going to be, for me, that's a really cool leverage point, right? Like, can you mix can you work Julio in with, some cheaper plays? The one thing with the Mariners, we picked on them a lot last season. They strike out a ton, but the other spot that I think could be sneaky is bottom of that lineup. I think Ty France could be in a sneaky spot today. For his price, I like where he is. Get me in there and, kind of sign me up with that. Where are we at on him today? Yeah, I mean, we're only 3,700. He's like not really owned. Yep. It's kind of a good spot. So that's there. So, all right. This is a weird game to me. This is the kind of game, this next game, right, is a kind of weird game that could, like, flip the slate because nobody's going to play it, right? Wind's blowing in. We got San Diego and St. Louis. You got Gibson and Waldron. And, Tatis is coming out crushing. What do you want to do exposure-wise here today?
For me, I'm kind of going to split it. I don't really want a whole lot of the pitchers. Like I said with Blanco, if he makes a lineup or two, Gibson and Waldron, then I might leave it. But to me, Waldron just don't really have upside. But as far as both offenses, I have some interest. I like picking on Gibson, and I'm not opposed to picking on Waldron either. We don't really like to play the Cardinals because we never get them right, but I think this is a decent spot for them.
Yeah, this is how the Cardinals will go. If I don't play them today, they will crush. But if I do, Goldie will do nothing for me, and I'll be mad all night. So that's just how they're my kryptonite. I can't get those guys right. I like Tatis. I like Cronenworth. I actually really like Luis today catching. I think he's in a good spot. And Jackson Merrill's still cheap, right? They got the young kid in there getting some at bats. and and Gibson is terrible, right? He's got a 345 XW WOBA, right, against lefties. So I really, really like that. So now for the chalkity chalk major ownership of the day. Everybody, their brother, their sister, their mother, their cousin is stacking the Yankees against Ryan Nelson today. I'm really struggling to not throw him. It's gross. But the leverage you will have on the field, the kids looked a lot better. If he can go out and slow these guys down and get you 5 innings, and even if he gives up a run or two, but get you 5 or 6 Ks, right? And they don't go off, man, that leverage on that lineup is wild.
Yeah, I agree. I liked the Yankees when I looked at the slate last night, and Nelson's had a pretty good spring training, so that don't really scare me to do that. But I like them, but I don't like playing the Yankees at ownership. They're pretty boom or bust to me, so I kind of like limited to mini stacks if I do play them. But they're expensive, so you can't really play a Judge Soto, but you could play. I like Austin Wells.
Yep.
And then maybe mix him with a Judge, but I don't really like full stack of them, and I'd rather play them with a lower owned team.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's Wells tonight and not Trevino,
Yeah.
right? We don't have the lineup yet, but I would definitely go there. What do you think of Rizzo tonight and some of the lefty bats?
I have some interest in some of the lefties. I mean, you see Nelson's giving up a 237 ISO to lefties, so you have to like them. Just that ownership that's pretty gross.
Yeah, it's the ownership, right? So if we go, over to our projections page here, right, we'll show you some of the stack ownership right now because the site's still free through today. Let's go to main slate, right? Wait till you guys see this, right? The Yankees are just massively up there, just right, 120% ownership aggregate. They're expensive. We break it down 5, 4, 3-man stacks, but man, I just can't eat that kind of owner. It's just against every fiber of my DFS being to play that kind of ownership. And I'm just generally okay losing if I lose at that number. What about you?
Yeah, I am too. I think just part of, like how you said, I'm fine to lose to the Yankees. I mean, they're not even our highest projected stack.
Look at that right there. Look at that. I mean, I know their home run isn't as great as some of the other spots, but man, they project nice today, and their owner, right? That low ownership is going to be really cool to look at. What do you today? I like the young man. I'm glad he made. I'm glad he made made their team. Obviously, we know the D-backs can hit. So what do you think of using him at some, to get some leverage on that game?
I actually like him quite a bit. I think he's probably going to be one of my favorite tournament pitchers on this slate. I plan to be overweight on him. I think, the Diamondbacks are scary, but I think he can go out there, get us 5, 6 Ks, give us 5 or 6 solid innings. If he gives up 1 run, I mean, at his price, that's more than enough.
Yeah, and that's for me. I wrote him up today. It's just his price, right? Especially you get 2 of these cheap arms in, and you can start making room for some of these bats, right? Soto's just murdering the ball to start the season. We got the Dodgers tonight, which, right, we're just going to have to play the Dodgers all season, unfortunately. Yes, I am in. So Gab was talking about I'm in light mode. That is my ode to Mike. I am doing it in light mode for Mike to help him out. It goes dark tomorrow when we go back to private. But yes, this is my ode to Mike for all the hard work he's been doing this offseason and doing every day right now. Yes, it's killing for the record, it's killing my eyes. So, I don't like it. And then one of my favorite stacks tonight, we get the Giants and Dodgers. This is where I'm biased, but I'm not biased about my money. So, right, while I dislike the Dodgers, obviously, they're in play, but same, right, with how much they're going to get owned, how they're going to get mixed in, Wynn's a great spot here to go after them. And then, right, and then I really like going after old man Paxton tonight with with the Giants. Like, give me that Wilmer, Soler, Chapman. I'm a big Lee fan. I think Lee's going to have a good year. I'll be interested to see the actual, order of the lineup here, and who they move up and down. They might move Estrada up today. Swap him with Slater possibly. But I mean, when you look at how they project, at their pricing, like you can use the Giants, use some cheap pitching, and then you can stack single big bats, or two big bats from some of the big teams pretty easy. I also don't even mind getting weird and going full stack in this game.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I was going to say you could literally stack the Giants with a 5-man and the Dodgers 2 or 3-man and call it a night. But I'm interested in the same things you just said. Flores, I want to see where he's at in the lineup, but yep. I'm into Chapman and Soler. I really like Matt Chapman tonight.
Yeah, like he lines up really well. As we're starting to look at projections here, right? Like, when we start going third base, we go to main slate, right? Like their projections really, really nice. And right, Chapman's getting a third of the ownership right now of Flores. So that's like, for me, I love that, right? Like, give me that, right? Like on the outfield, I knew Soler at 2.5 guys. Soler is criminal at 2.5%. Criminal in that stadium. Like that's it. I get he's $4,800, but man, like 2.5% is nice. Like that, that gets you there really quick. Same, a $2,800 Slater, right? Like, I talked about some of these dumpster dives. I'll tell you again, guys, I really like DJ Stewart. I'm going to keep using him. The guy has the upside there, to really be useful. So I'm going to keep using him in there. But right, like I like that spot. We go over to shortstop. I love me some Mookie, but when you start looking at this, you're like, ownership. Like, look at this. Like, that's a wild number, right? Like, get me into a 5% Pena, right? Like, I'm not playing hobby. I refuse to play hobby. So, who do you like from there and there in the shortstop range?
In the shortstops, let me see.
I'll stack them points wise.
I like Mookie. I know his ownership's pretty high, but I'm kind of into Kim. I like Pena too. I'm into Jeremy Pena, and I don't mind adding Pena. And I don't mind adding Nick Ahmed to a Giant stack just for salary savings.
Yeah, I mean, right, like I was saying, like Pena there, his price is really good. And he's $3,200, right? Like Mookie's hard not to play. Like, right, we're just gonna play Mookie a ton, but I also kind of like Mookie over at second. When you start looking at like ownership, I'm not going to be on a $5,000 Giloff. Like, there's just zero chance I'm going there. Like, that's just like hurts my soul.
I don't know how they even got that price.
Yeah, me neither. Like, I get he's got upside, but right. Like again, like Estrada's $4,100. Give me down into this price range. Again, I like the cards. I just don't ever get them right. So, but right, like Cuz Gorman's $4,000, he's 16%. But right, Estrada's 2%. Right, you're running a 5-man stack. That could get real interesting there real quick. At his price there. Same thing here, right? Like, nobody's got Noda projects so well, right? He's 1.4% tonight. Casas has every bit of 2 home run power in him. And, if he's sub 5%, and you got him one off, you're breaking the slate. So, especially over at FanDuel, I really will probably play him in that catcher first base slot over at FanDuel just because of where he is. Because, we start looking at ownership, right? Like Vlad, I'm not playing a 18%. I get it's Vlad, but I'm not paying an 18%, $5,500 Vlad. And then Pete, so this is how I like to play, guys. Vlad's $5,500. He's 18%. Alonso projects a little bit better. He's 53 and he's 3.7. Like those are the spots I like to take advantage of. So, all right, here's a good question. This is a good question for you, Smitty. I'm gonna let you answer this first. How do you play the slate if these lineups haven't been released before slate start?
I mean, I'd use the projected lineups. I'll build just normal, like as if we have the lineups, and then as they come out, I'll make swap them for whoever. Sometimes I have to do a whole swap, which kind of is a pain, but
yeah, same way. Like I'll set what I believe, and then I'll make sure looking salary wise I can swap off. So right, you got to be in a position to be able to swap out. With guys not starting, guys get scratched. We saw yesterday, right? Like Bo Bichette got scratched. That was a weird spot. So I'm doing the same thing there. And then catcher wise, I know he's going to get ownership, but it's hard for me to not like Francisco again. Just at his price, but I'll show you this right here, right? Saying back to that Houston stack, right? Like, give me Diaz sub 10%. Against we saw what like Vlad's going to be owned and Bichette's going to be owned, right? Like, give me the other side against one of the best hitting teams in baseball. Sign me up there. I probably won't go Murphy. Just not a big enough bat. Not what I can go. This is one I'd rather go one off Alvarez at 12%, just because that's how I like to play. I like Luis here. Bo Naylor's going to have a big day one of these games. I'd like to be on the right side of that. All right, and Kirk's going to be big known tonight. So I kind of like fading that Toronto side as I start looking at like single entry 3 max. They would all be in play for me in a GPP 20 max and up. But, if I'm getting, to back to my, my single entry 3 max, that's where I'm at, right? And we'll look at ownership for you guys, right? Like Manea at 54, like give me down here to these guys. Like I get it's gross, guys, but again, that leverage of Ryan Nelson off of the Yankees, right? Especially GPP. If he hits, you're gonna be so far ahead of that field. And I just can't play Manea at 50%.
No.
I like Boyles, right? But same, like that's just a pure leverage, right? That's right. I call them hero or zeros, right? Like the Nelson thing's a hero or zero. Gill, same thing. Like, I really like him. He can get lit up, but I'll tell you guys right now, there's a very good chance one of those two guys are my single entry pitcher tonight, just because that's how you take down slates is, you get the low end guys, has a good night and takes it from there. But man, it feels gross while you're doing it.
Yep. Gill is one of the cheap pitchers that I think has probably 10K upside. And he would be an expensive pitcher if he could just get his walk rate down a little bit. That's his issue.
Yeah, for sure. Right. So like one of the things you can do too is share this tab instead. Right. So, right. We don't have all that data, but we know where he's kind of been, from there. So you can see he's, putting up some walks there. But one of the cool things with us is as you start to look at guys, right, like you can start pulling guys up on the slates, guys. And we have this broke down for everybody. Like if you really want to dig in how they're doing, where they're going, who they're going up against, right? Like we'll go look at Nelson today. Right. So we have a little more data on him. So, right, you can go in and you can see, hey, like, this is terrifying, right? When you see this, you're like, oh my gosh. I just also think he's taken a little step forward this season, right? You guys, you got to remember this is, we know what he did last year, but can he make the turn? I like how he's looked in the spring, but this is, you can go down, you can look at pitch metrics, you can look at all the games, you can filter all this, you can look at his pitch type. So this is where I start digging, right? Like I'll go look like, hey, here's who they're playing against, right? Like, oh, hey, Juan Soto, last time he played him went yard, right? So, what Juan do? So those kind of things. So we like looking at that kind of stuff, I'll probably add a Soto home run prop, right? Looking at that, but this is a good way to dig into the slate for you guys want to look at. So how are you building your lineups? What are you doing? Walk me through your process.
I haven't started building yet, but on this slate, I don't think any pitcher's worth the ownership. So I'm probably going to leverage a lot of my lineups through pitchers. Like we talked about Gill, Nelson. I'm down to play any of those guys. And kind of, I'm going to be underweight McKenzie, Mania, and mainly all the expensive pitchers because I don't really think anyone's worth paying for on this slate. So, and then offense, like we talked about, the Yankees are chalk, the Blue Jays are chalky, and there's comparable teams. It's not like they stand out above everybody. So
Yeah.
I'm probably going to be underweight on both of those teams too.
I probably won't go to the Cards now that I see their ownership going up.
Yeah.
Right, like the Astros down here just really stick out to me as like I'm probably going to run there, right? So that's a great spot there. So what I want you to walk through is like everybody that's listening right now, walk them through how you're building your GPP lineups. Like how do you set them? Like what are you looking to do? Are you building rules? Like kind of give them just a quick little insight to what you do.
Yeah. Normally, I'll run either purely 5-2 on DraftKings. I'll run 5-2 or 5-3 stacks and picking one-offs that I think have power upside. But basically, I'm downloading the projections off here, or you can use the optimizer on the site. But I make a lot of lineups, and it's kind of hard to make more on there.
Yeah.
But I'll make I pretty much am building a portfolio to where I have direct leverage in my lineups, and I'm finding my leverage points on the slate. That's basically it.
Nice. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain, but
well, that's I want to do, right? We want to teach people too, right?
Yeah.
Like we want them to learn, and so I'm the same way. Like I just call me Mr. Contrarian. Like I don't want to play ownership. It's how I've been successful in single entry and 3 max. Like I'm willing to eat a little bit, but like every time I play somebody that's highly owned, I just kick myself in the butt afterwards. Like why did you play that guy? Why'd you go there? Right? Like especially right as we start looking at like this ownership tonight, like this is 40%. How like even if he's 30, like 40%, like oh my gosh, like ooh, right? And then back to you're gonna tell me Paxton's gonna be the 4th highest owned pitcher on there. Sign me up with the giant stack, right? Like just sign me up there, but that you see the Blue Jays, Yankees, they're all there. It's Dodgers we got to play just because they're so good. But, give me the lower owned guys, let me go the other way and, give me that low ownership for there. So hit us up in the Discord. Everything's still free today. Thanks for joining us on this slate breakdown. And as we depart here, who's your moonshot?
I got Yordan Alvarez tonight. I know it's kind of a cheapie, but join the Discord. We'll give you some more.
Yeah. And I'm going with Vinny P, baby. Vinny P tonight. I really like how he lines up today. I just think he's in a really he's in a really good spot. Seems back. He's healthy. I like him here, and he's got a good matchup. Like Kremer is terrible versus lefties. Like Dean is not good against lefties, and it's value here, right? So if you go to I'll actually share this real quick. So this will be good to see. Show one of our tools here. So one of the reasons that really got me to dig at him is I went to our home runs, and I'll show it here now. Add stage, right? Like as I start looking at him, right? One of our favorite spots is him. So Vinny, right? Like it's already moved a little bit. We got it at plus 700 earlier. It's down to 600 at books, 575 at Hard Rock already. But we show the true line at 238. So that's just a lot of value for me today. And then I'm looking at park factors and all that stuff. Don't forget, guys, we have all that built in. So on our dashboards, right? Like, I know park factor isn't free anymore. So we have all that tool built in for you so you can look at it. And I'm breaking that down in our article. I'm kind of showing you on here, like, there's not a lot of good parks tonight, right? So another reason I like the Dodgers Giants, the park factor is really well there. It's a big rivalry game. So I can look at that, right? Like it's got a decent total. This line's already moved up to 9. So, right, like it's going over. Like I like those directions. So thanks everybody, and we'll see you in the streets.